Hello Nation, welcome to another Covey Pro. Last week we welcomed 3 members into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame, one of them being Roy Covey, the man who was fundamental in the creation of this company.
On March 27, 1934, Roy Covey began his journey through life. He was the 5th of 9 children born to Fred and Sadie Covey in the coal mining town of Crab Orchard, West Virginia. As an infant, Roy wasn't expected to live through his youth as a fly got into his left ear, causing significant damage to his eardrum. His father passed away at a very young age, and Roy had to start supporting the family. So at just 14 years of age, Roy became a long-haul truck driver, a profession he would stick with for over 48 years. Accident-free. Roy was known to be a hard worker and a good Christian man, living the values instilled in him by his mother and father and his Sunday school teacher, Senator Robert C. Byrd of West Virginia. In his leisure time, he enjoyed many hobbies such as spending time with his family, NASCAR racing, and of course watching professional wrestling. Watching wrestling with Pap, that's where I was first introduced to professional wrestling. He adopted and raised his grandson, Cody Covey, as his own and supported Cody's ambitions through high school, military training and deployments, and pro wrestling.
He was responsible for Cody ever getting into the business, and he's always supported him.
Without Pap, Cody, would he really be here doing this following his dream? Probably not.
Cody would go on to found Covey Promotions, a namesake that is dedicated to Roy for sparking his interest in the business by spending quality time watching wrestling together with him as a child. Roy could always be found in the front row at any given Covey Pro show and had no restraint when it came to any wrongdoing he'd witness in the squared circle.
The guy hated me. I was in a match and we were here in the sportatorium and I couldn't tell you who I was wrestling. And I cheated, which, I mean, I'm Lois Rich, of course I cheated. And I roll out to the ring and I'm yelling at the crowd, telling people to shut up, and I see this old man struggle himself out of the chair, and he starts yelling at me. So I'm thinking he's just like any fan. I'm gonna yell back at him, tell him to sit down, he's gonna sit down. And I look at him, I was like, "Sit down, old man." And he reared back his fist and he was like, "I'll knock you out." So just out of, fear of an old man, taking a swing on me, I decided to go around the other side of the ring and maybe yell at some other fans. I get to the back and I have no idea who this old guy is. I'm just like, man, I'm talking to people. I'm like, "Oh man, did you guys see that old guy? That's some heat right there. This old guy was ready to swing on me." And Greg Miller pulls me aside. He goes, "Yeah, that was Cody Covey's grandfather." Right then and there, I was like, well, this is my last day at Covey Promotions because I'm probably going to be fired because I almost got into a fight with the promoter's elderly grandfather.
As a fan, and would oftentimes get involved with certain matches, whether the wrestlers knew about it or not, especially matches involving a wrestler by the name of Sergeant Cody McGraw. My God, when I used to wrestle, it was all the time, especially if I was wrestling Hunter Muhammad. I'll never forget the first Covey Pro show ever. I was wrestling Hunter Muhammad, and Hunter proceeded to start beating me in the back with a chair after I'd already won the match. And my Pap, didn't miss a beat. He was up out of his chair, and he was wanting Hunter Muhammad, and he got a chair, and he was coming after him and chased him the whole way to the curtain. Behind the scenes, though, Roy was always happy and proud to help out in any way that he could, which included pulling the Covey Pro float through the Apple Butter Festival parade held in Berkeley Springs every year. Sadly, on August 20th, 2014, Roy's journey came to an end, and he passed away with family members, including Cody, by his side. As he took his last breath, the world of Covey Pro became a lesser place, but his legacy of truly being the grandfather of Covey Pro Wrestling will always live on.
He'd be the first one there to shake your hand and tell you you put on a great show, and it meant a lot to a lot of the people here, it meant a lot to the Covey family, and we miss him. We do miss him.
Pap kind of built this place, and God only knows what this place would be without him.
So it is with great pride, honor, and respect that we welcome Roy Pap Covey into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame, class of 2015.
To accept the recognition, here is Roy's grandson and owner of Covey Pro, Cody Covey.
I'd like to formally welcome everyone to the 2015 Covey Pro Hall of Fame. I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but the whole reason the company's named Covey Promotions is in honor of him, because I wouldn't be here, this company wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, and that passion that he instilled in me and that love for that business, this business, that he instilled in me as a young child. He was always there behind the scenes as well. If we ever needed an extra helping hand, he was game for it. If that meant hauling, the wrestling ring, Greg and I were busy one weekend and couldn't make it to Mayhew Chevrolet in Romney, West Virginia, and WJL needed us there for a promotion with the ring. By God, Pap would come up and hook up to the trailer and he'd be gone. And he loved every minute of it. He pulled the float through the parade here in Berkeley Springs every year, and love doing that. A lot of people don't know this either, but it's a very cash-driven business, other than like checks or things like that. Sometimes we accept checks, we accept anything, but a lot of times I go to Monday morning. I live in Fort Ashby, West Virginia, which is about an hour west of here. It's a long drive to make it to Citizens National Bank over here in Berkeley Springs, but call old Pap up. He'd come to Fort Ashby, he'd be more than happy to do it, pick up whatever we made off the show and make sure it was deposited in the bank, and just did it out of the goodness of his heart, and just loved doing it because he felt like he was a part of it. And he was a part of it, a very big part of it. So just little tasks like that, and always coming to the shows, and he would get more emotionally invested as a fan in the shows than anybody I've ever known in my life. As the video showed, I'll never forget the very first Covey Pro show. It was on September 23rd, 2006, right over here at the high school gym. And it was a title tournament to crown the first champion. And of course, I was in the title tournament. And my first round match, me being the Army sergeant back from the Iraq deployment, Sergeant Cody McGraw, I drew the name, having to wrestle in the first round, the guy from the Middle East, Hunter Muhammad. And I did win the match, but then that dastardly Hunter Muhammad took it upon himself to roll out of the ring and go get a chair and attack me from behind. And I mean, while I'm down, he's waylaying me. And if he looked directly right there in the front row, sitting right across from him, was my Pap. Which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea. And he got about 2 or 3 swings in, and the old man had enough. And he got up out of that chair, and he was a little bit more spry back then. In 2006, he was still in pretty good shape. He wasn't coming to the ring without a weapon. By God, if that guy had a chair, he was bringing one with him. And I'll never forget just the crowd reacting that night, and people, some of the local people knew who he was and knew he was my grandfather, and they got a big kick out of it. But Hunter Muhammad had no idea who he was. Just thought it was this crazed, elderly fan, or somebody I had planted in the audience to, kind of be a part of the show or what. He wasn't real sure, but when he started chasing him, like running with a chair, Hunter didn't know what to do, so he hightailed it, made it back to the curtain, and then I made it back to the curtain. And I remember him asking me, like, who was that out there? Was he serious? I said, man, I didn't get to tell you. I said, that was my Pap. I said, you did the best thing you could do by running and getting the hell away from him. He was dead serious, and he would have took your damn head off.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the newest up-and-coming star of Covey Pro Wrestling. Your Saturday Night Delight, Brown Sugar Jones. I ain't always been the nicest guy, so I always depend on my friends, whether Holt's bonding, to have my back. Now they're located in Martinsburg, West Virginia, at 306 West Stephen Street. You can also give them a ring there on the phone, 304-267-5888. They offer affordable financing. Tell them Brown Sugar sent you.
He was from the old school, and Greg and I say this so often because it's so true. So many people aren't good for their word or don't live up to their word anymore. To me, you know, it's a damn shame that you got to, you know, get something in writing or get somebody to sign something to agree. You know, back in the day, man, it was your word, your handshake. You know, your word was supposed to be your bond. And that's the kind of man he was. He was a man of integrity. He was a man of his word. He'd done what he promised he would do. And don't make him like that anymore, unfortunately. I remember, you know, the last few years, you know, since we've really got rolling, because it was pretty rough getting things started around here. But, you know, I look at what we've accomplished. And we started out, we did about 3 shows a year. I was renting somebody else's ring. Fast forward a couple years, we got our own ring, doing 6, 7, 8 shows a year. Fast forward a couple years, we got a TV deal. We're doing 8, 10, 12 shows a year. Fast forward a year or 2 after that, we got our own wrestling school. We've had that for over 5 years. So not a whole lot of independent promotions in this country can say that, A, they got a TV show, and if they do, they're lucky to last 5 episodes, let alone 5 years. Have their own legitimate training facility where we hold classes every week. And we go all over the country, too. I mean, as far as the region goes, I mean, I think where we've been, I mean, we've done shows from Charleston, West Virginia, to Elkins, West Virginia, to Morgantown, to Confluence, Pennsylvania, to Altoona, Pennsylvania, to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Last year, we broke into the state of Maryland for the first time, running Gaithersburg and Frederick. So we've ran shows in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia. And my goal by the end of 2016 is to be in Virginia and run the whole 4-state region. And this was a goal that I talked about with my pap often because, like I said, I live in Fort Ashby, West Virginia. I'm from Paw Paw. I'm from Morgan County. As a matter of fact, I even went to high school here in Berkeley Springs. I went a half a day in Paw Paw and the other half a day here in Berkeley Springs, or I wouldn't have graduated on time. Again, I was a shithead. But and after every show, not every show, but most shows here in Berkeley Springs, I would, on my way back home, Paw Paw's right along the way, the route that I go. We go across the mountain to Paw Paw, up 51 through Maryland, cross the toll bridge in Old Town, if anybody knows where that is, and go up through Green Spring back to Fort Ashby. Well, Paw Paw's right on the way, and a lot of times people don't realize being a leader, setting an example, and this is something my pap instilled in me in the Army, kind of drove it home, is you're supposed to lead by example. That's why I'm 99.9% of the time, I'm the first one at the building, and I'm the last one to leave. That's what a leader's supposed to do. A lot of times, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning before we're even getting the ring loaded up and out of there. So it's a long night. And I'm getting older. Paw Paw's right along the way, and the old homestead's right on the way. There's been many nights, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, my wife and I, still knowing where the keys hid on the back porch, go home, and we'd stay the night there, and of course you'd be woke up about 6:30 in the morning. Pap coming downstairs, stepping over, "Oh, hey, son, it's great to see you. You didn't make it home last night?" And he would love it. He would love it, and I loved it too. I would make it a point to do that sometimes, just so I could have breakfast and coffee with him and ask him how the show was, and it never felt, "Oh, it was great. It was great. You guys are getting bigger. I tell you, you got to talk to Greg. You guys got to take that whole damn sportatorium. You ain't going to be able to fit people in there very long with what you got. It's just great. Every show gets better." And those words of encouragement just meant so much to me, because I did look up to him so much. And man, he was all about this place, a lot more than what a lot of people will ever know or realize. And I miss those conversations. So in closing, I'd just like everyone here tonight to know how much I love my pap. How's it doing so good? I love him with all my heart. I carry around a heaviness in my heart every day because I miss him so much. I can only hope to be as good a man as him, so I can see him again one day in heaven. With that being said, I would like to welcome any Covey family members that are here tonight to come up on stage and accept this award on behalf of the Covey family for my pap, Roy Covey.
The second inductee into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame this year was the man who became the soul of Covey Pro. Let's take a look.
Ever since I was a young boy, I always wanted to be a preacher. I always wanted to be a fireman. And I always wanted to be involved in professional wrestling. And I thank you for coming out and for supporting us like you have.
Richard J. White was born and raised in New York City and found his calling in serving the Lord and becoming a pastor, eventually settling down in Paw Paw, West Virginia.
I've known that man both in my personal life and in the business. I've been with that man a lot outside of the ring. He's been beside me and has helped me so much, and as I've helped him as well. He is undoubtedly one of my best friends.
Richie has a passion for the Gospels, but Richie also had another lifelong passion, professional wrestling.
We both got into Covey Pro at about the same time, but when he started training as a referee, he put his heart and his soul into it, and he really loved this business.
He fell in love with the sport at a very young age and had always dreamed of becoming a referee, and at All or Nothing 2, his dream became a reality as he officiated his first match.
Richie had approached me and he wanted to referee somehow, you got to let me be a referee, it's my dream, that type of a deal. So I let him referee. I think it was a battle royal that night because it was something easy and something he couldn't mess up and could do with very little, if no training.
He would go on to officiate several Covey Pro wrestling matches, not only known for his officiating, but also as being pastor for the organization, conducting both locker room and in-ring opening prayer.
Our characters and our in-ring personas, maybe we butt heads, but outside of the business, we're brothers and in our faith, and I've always respected Richie for that.
Whether he's been in the ring as a referee, or backstage as a medic, or in the stage preaching to the choir, so to speak, or in the audience as a fan. Richie has been here for a long time. Richie means a lot to this company. Richie means a lot to the people in it.
He officiated his final match at All or Nothing 8, closing the chapter to a fulfillment of a lifelong dream, officially retiring as an active referee talent.
Probably the first guy I met here at Covey Pro. It's definitely the first guy I officially met in the ring here at Covey Pro, and I handed the mic over to him for the opening prayer. And I just remember, like, every single match, as soon as it's, or every single night, as soon as it's over, Richie White would come up to me, put his arm around me, shake my hand, make sure everything was going great, both here with the organization as well as like in my own personal life, checking in, making sure everything's going great. And he's an amazing man, the only person I know who can take care of mind, body, and soul, Richie White.
It is with great pride, honor, and respect that we welcome the pastor of Covey Pro, Richie White, into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame, class of 2015.
Nation, it's time for a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll hear from Richie White.
Lois G. Rich here. As a former Covey Pro Tag Team Champion, there's nothing I won't do to get my tag title back, which sometimes means things that are outside of the law. But I never worry because I know I can always call Eric S. Black, attorney at law. That's Eric S. Black, attorney at law. 304-258-2931. So remember, when you see the blue, call the black.
Hello, Covey Pro Nation. This is Big John Green. Hey, have you ever thought about becoming a professional wrestler, a referee, a ring announcer? If you want to get in on the action, come on down. Give us a call at 304-298-2192 or 240-421-1938. Join us at our Covey Pro Dojo for training for you to become a professional. We're located right behind the Earth Dog Cafe on 522 in beautiful downtown Berkeley Springs.
In the Bible, it says to let your praises be sung by others. To listen to that video, I was on your show that night, and I got silent because I watched that video, and it just blew me away. It's an honor to be here tonight. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame says a lot about what your peers think about you. To be inducted with Roy Covey and Crazii Shea is an added honor. 1964, Island Garden Arena, and my father takes me to my first live show. I had just been promoted in school. It was my birthday, so Dad figured what a way to celebrate. The highlight of the night, the heavyweight championship match. Toru Tanaka against Bruno Sammartino. And as is usual, Bruno comes running out. This is before they had entrance music, okay? So we had no way really of knowing who was coming down until they showed up. I see the golden boy, Arnold Skolin, leading Bruno to the ring. And Bruno's got his hand out. I'm front row. There's no barriers or anything like that. And I got Bruno's hand. I wouldn't let go. And Bruno turns around and pats me on the head and says, "How you doing, son?" I was hooked. As he ran into the ring, I yelled, "Watch out for the salt!" Because Toru Tanaka had that little gimmick where he would have salt and he would throw it in the opponent's eyes. And right at the moment he's about to do it, I yelled into the ring, "Watch out!" And Bruno ducks. And I'd like to take credit for that. He misses. Bruno throws him into the ring, into the ropes. As he comes off, Bruno ducks down, gets him in that big squeeze, and he made Toru Tanaka tap out. He holds his hands up. He's being awarded the match. He won the match. He's got his title up, and he pointed down. And I want to think he pointed at me. And I was hooked. I came home. When we came home the next morning, when I got up, we came down to the breakfast table, and I said to my mom, "I know what I want to do when I grow up." She goes, "Yeah, I know. You want to be a priest and you want to be a fireman." She goes, "No, Mama, I want to be a professional wrestler." She dropped the bowl of oatmeal, yelled for my father, who comes running in. "What? Tell him he can't do that." Okay? Dad says, "Wait till you get bigger." Well, time has a way of changing some dreams, but never taking away the desire.
Fantastic. Go ahead and let's make that up. Fox's Pizza, 304-258-8000. They do deliver. 304-258-8000. Oh my goodness. Let's open that up. Stay here and open that up with me. Oh, that's definitely a pizza for Big John Green. Fox's Pizza is a proud sponsor of Covey Pro Wrestling and a major ticket outlet.
Fast forward 2008, and I'm subbing at Paw Paw High School. You remember? Cody comes in. Now, Cody and I, we've been talking about this. He's telling me about his wrestling schools, and I've been talking about it. And I was saying, "Well, I'm waiting for you to do something over here." And you did. You came into the park with Jake the Snake Roberts that night. I remember that. And that was a great time as well. But now he walks in while I'm subbing at the high school. Now, what's unusual about this, Paul Ackerman was the teacher. Paul Ackerman doesn't take a day off, all right? But he happens to take a day off that day that Cody comes in to look about setting up for the ring for All or Nothing 2. Now, he says it in there, but it's not exactly like that. He's pretty close, though. First thing I say to him, I says, "Hey, you need a medic?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Great, I'm a medic. I can be a medic for your show." And he goes, "Oh, cool, that'll be great to have you." And I said, then I decided to push the envelope a little bit. I says, "Can I be a referee too?" And he was very gracious because he didn't hesitate. he turned around and said, "Sure, I got just a match for you." And Pat Lawson that night took me aside to train me a little bit that night so I can be prepared for what was going to happen. And that began a wonderful story that ends here tonight and brings us to why we are here tonight. Dream number 3 came true that night. And it's an awesome dream. I want to tell you, don't give up on your dreams. You got a dream to be something. You got a dream to be somebody. Don't give up on that dream. Here I am, I'm 60 years old, actually 61 years old, and I can say the 3 things that I set out to be at 6 years old, I have lived it now, all because of this. I want to thank first the fans. You supported us. Without you, there is no Covey Pro. Without you, there is no show. And I want to thank you all for coming out each time we put up a show. Whether it was Confluence, PA, whether it's Charleston, West Virginia, Fairmount, Philippi, Frederick, Gettysburg, and right here in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. And I want to thank you for that. And Cody, I want to thank you. Because if you didn't say yes that night, this doesn't happen. But you let me live my dream. And I thank you for that. I can never repay you for that. But I thank you for that. And one last person. I thank my family for always being there for me, to always encouraging me and helping me to do what I wanted to do and supporting me in that. And I thank my wife. She's been down the road. We've been from Long Island to Seneca Falls, to Knoxville, Tennessee, to Shirley, Indiana, to Paw Paw, West Virginia. All right? And she's been with me all the way. Guys, the girls like uniforms and badges. You want her name and number, get a uniform and a badge. And lastly, I just want to thank God, because without Him giving us the ability to do what we do, our dreams just remain that, a dream. Thank you all.
Our last inductee this year not only still part of the active roster, but also in a few weeks will be challenging Lois Rich for the Covey Pro Heavyweight title. I'm talking about the leader of the Lunatic Army, Crazii Shea.
I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, if you don't leave me alone, you're gonna have to send me home, 'cause I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Crazii Shea. Crazii Shea. The guy who can sit there on the ropes and make it look like he's on a cabana on the beach.
Crazii Shea is crazy 24/7. Crazy in the bar, crazy at home, crazy in the ring. The name fits the person. The absolute craziest guy I've ever met in or out of the business.
You never know what you're going to get with Crazii Shea, but you always know it's going to be entertaining.
Crazii Shea began his career with Covey Pro at the very first event on September 23, 2006 at Berkeley Springs High School gym. At the time, he was already a seasoned ring veteran and decided to make Covey Pro his home promotion.
He's one of the few guys that's been with this company from day one.
I know personally, I can tell you, I went up and down the East Coast with Crazii Shea in the last 10 years. He's crazy.
He is. He is. He's absolutely.
And I think Covey Pro is crazy for putting him in the Hall of Fame. But you deserve it, you anarchy-loving bastard. Enjoy.
Absolutely.
The conductor of the Crazii train, the general of the lunatic army. What can you say about this guy? He's been here longer than just about anybody else. It's a very small number of people that have been here as long as Crazii Shea, and he's been fighting the whole time.
The guy he's crazy, he's exciting to watch, you never know what he's going to do, and that makes for dangerous but some exciting matches.
Staying with the company since its inception. In his career with Covey Pro, he has held the Cruiserweight, Tag Team, and World Heavyweight Championships.
I think the 6 months that he and I ran with the Tag Team titles took off 5 years of my career. That's probably why I'm refereeing now. But I always still got one fight in me. So, Crazii, if you ever need me, we can get wild and crazy one more time.
When I first broke in, we were doing a show in some country town. 10 people showed up. We were a tag team called Wild and Crazy. He wanted to jump off a chandelier that was hanging above the ring, onto our opponent. I looked at him and said, "You're nuts, because there's only 10 people here, and we can give them a good show and their money's worth without doing that." He wanted to go above and beyond, so we go out into the ring, and next thing I know, I see Crazii Shea on top of a chandelier and on top of somebody. So he definitely made sure that he had their attention and gave them their money's worth.
A longtime fan favorite and leader of the Lunatic Army, he has faced many obstacles and adversities in his life, both personally and professionally, always keeping a positive attitude and mindset, and always overcoming any situation, always coming out on top.
He always tries to push himself and challenge the people that he works with in the ring because it means something to him, because he knows that there's that little boy or little girl in the audience who dreams to be a professional wrestler, and he knows that he can make their dreams come true when they see him. He knows that there's that older person in the crowd who may or may not have a chance to be in the ring, who may never ever see a show in the future, maybe their first time or their last time at a show, and he wants to make sure if it's the last wrestling show they see, that it is the greatest wrestling experience they could possibly have.
I can respect the fact that you're a daredevil, the fact that you're willing to do anything to pick up a victory. Quite frankly, it's crazy. Defines crazy, and Crazii Shea, I definitely respect you, and you are, no doubt about it, a Covey Pro Hall of Famer.
He's earned the reputation of being talented but humble, always willing to give advice and help out younger talent in any way that he can, and is not above doing extra duty activities.
Back when I first broke into the professional wrestling business, working somewhere else locally, sitting back in a stairwell and just being a young trainee, not really knowing anything about the business, still breaking in, still learning, and just kind of sitting with my head down because I didn't have that great of a match. But this guy was getting brought in. He was about the same age as me. He'd already been trained and was already a professional, and he was really getting over. I mean, he was doing some just amazing stuff out there, and he kind of saw me hanging with my head down, on the steps, and came and patted me on the back, like, "Hey man, keep your head up, kid, and if you ever want to get out of here, I can get you booked in North Carolina, brother." Little did I know, getting booked in North Carolina meant that I was Shea's transportation from Dundalk, Maryland to North Carolina, and then we get there and the promoters never heard of me and didn't even know I was coming. But he stuck to his word. He talked to the promoter. He got me on the show.
Crazii Shea trained me how to wrestle, and I was really proud of you, son.
He's always there to lend a hand when I need one.
He helped me break that little bit of fear I had in me to get up on the top rope and jump off and do some moves. Also, he helped me with some of my other training as well.
He is truly an inspirational living example of a true underdog.
Shea and I shared a really special moment with each other, which should have been a very traumatic moment for each other. We were in a match, and Shea did an Acai moonsault, and when we connected, My feet came from underneath me. I hit the back of my head, and Shea smacked the front of his face. We both got concussions instantly. I had a giant knot on the back of my head that grew like a cartoon character, and Shea was completely out. And that was within the first like 3 minutes of the match. Shea and I worked another 10 minutes. We were two guys that were wrestling on instinct alone. Neither one of us could remember the match. Neither one of us knew at all what was going on, but we finished the match. And I mean, it just shows the heart that Crazy Shea has. More than most guys you'll ever meet in this business, this guy has a heart for professional wrestling.
I don't think I've ever done a show that someone didn't ask me, is Crazy Shea going to be there?
It is with great pride, honor, and respect that Covey Promotions officially welcomes one of the greatest attractions to ever grace a Covey Pro wrestling ring, the one and only Crazy Shea, into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame class of 2015.
It's time for our last commercial break, but when we come back, we'll hear from Crazy Shea.
Hi, I'm Covey Pro superstar and the voice of reason, Dashing Donnie Diablo. When I tell you should make the trip down to 979 North Frederick Avenue in Gaithersburg to King Volkswagen Kia, you know I'm telling you the truth. At King VW, you'll be treated right, from our state-of-the-art service department to our knowledgeable sales staff. King Volkswagen's commitment to service makes car buying fun again, and you won't have to wrestle us for the best prices and service all around.
Hello, Covey Pro Nation. This is Big John Green. Hey, have you ever thought about becoming a professional wrestler, a referee, a ring announcer? If you want to get in on the action, come on down. Give us a call at 304-298-2192 or 240-421-1938. Join us at our Covey Pro Dojo for training for you to become a professional. We're located right behind the Earth Dog Cafe on 522 in beautiful downtown Berkeley Springs.
It's hard not to catch some feelings up here. Whew, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. All right, there's so many people, 15 years ago when I walked into the gym and everybody told me that I would never be able to do this, I knew we were on to something. You see, people that tell you that they try to hold you back because they've never been able to do it. That's right. You can do anything you set your mind to. If you have the biggest goals, as long as you put forth the effort, this year is proof that anything is possible. I am the littlest guy in Covey Pro. I am 5'9", 170 pounds of fury and ass whipping, and we have taken it to the top. Guys, there's so many things I want to say, but talking about a story, and I have a lot of stories with you guys, and being who I am and what I am, I'm really nothing without half of the opponents that I have faced. They make who I am. Having good guys to go against, that's how you become who you are. You need a good group of guys. It's not just Crazy Shea, and it's not just the Lunatic Army. It's having talent to go against. Now, with that being said, there's a young... No, I was talking about talent, Lois. That's not you. So I want to tell a story, man, because yes, back in the day, if I got you a booking, oh, you were giving me a ride, oh yeah. So I want to tell this story because he kind of hit on it just a little bit, and this is one of my favorite stories of all times. So he was a young man and he looked so distraught, and we all have those matches that aren't the greatest, and that's cool.
So we're back there, and you know, he's just looking like a freight train had done hit him. He was just destroyed. And I'm like, man, what's going on? He's like, man, I'm not getting many bookings. You know, I'm having some trouble, and you know, I need some. Hey, what can you do? I was like, man, look, I've got your back on this. Come down to North Carolina. You know, I didn't need to talk to the promoter because, well, I have earned the promotion. I already had a slide in on that. We were getting him in. But what he didn't know was the next night in Delaware, there was a hardcore match that I was scheduled in. It was a whole show of hardcore. I'm talking light tubes, thumbtacks. Now, Sergeant Cody McGraw back then didn't play with any of this. So he gets there, and they're unloading the truck, and that's normal. That's normal. Unloading a truck is normal for a wrestling show. Then they start pulling out the metal trash cans, and Cody's looking at me like, Shea, I'm playing off. No, Cody, you're good. You're fine, sir. You're good. It's going to be great. Awesome. So everything was fine until they pulled out of the box of light tubes. At this point in time, I think the light went off in Cody's head. And he's looking at me and he's like, no, wait. I like Cody. Do you have insurance? Why? Well, sir, I forgot to tell you, just a little side note, you may want to have insurance. He's like, why? I said, sir, you're going against a Delaware assassin. And his face, you know, and he's a white boy, but he was a real white boy. All the color, right to the bottom of his feet. So we're at the end of the show. I'm picking glass out of his elbow and telling him how sorry I am for getting him involved in this craziness. Years later, by the way, I still get occasionally, I hit my elbow and I think there's still a piece of glass, Shea. I still get, look, I still get it. It has been a wild ride. You guys have rallied behind a little guy, and more so than I could ever ask you, I would give everything for you guys 100 times over, because the feeling that you guys give me in that ring is better than any drug, any high, any life experience, man. You guys are what I live for. I love you all, and thank you. Covey Pro 2015. And hold on, hey Lois, I didn't forget about you. You can stand up now. You can turn your ass. God, turn your back on. No. I like the other side. It's much prettier, please. Yeah, no. So you got a Chris Wild and you've got a Crazy Shea. What are the odds? 33-3, you walk out, still hold that title? I'm not a mathematician, sir, but enjoy it, because tonight is looking like your last night, because it's about to get wild and crazy. All aboard!
Covey Pro Nation, this is it for me and the show, but I hope you enjoyed it, and once again, don't forget to check us out on CoveyPro.com. Have a good night, everyone.